everyone. Welcome to the Paladins Pro Circuit Friday edition, brought to you by myself, Gormizer, and Kresnik over there. Mainly brought to you by Kresnik. I just happen to be here and say words sometimes, so I guess that makes
Hey,
things
you say words
a
all
little
the
bit
time.
over.
Don't sell yourself short, okay? You don't stop saying words. That's why you're here.
You would think, this is actually what's funny, you would think because we spend our waking hours for work speaking all the time, right, about video games or what have you, that then I would be maybe more reserved or quiet regularly. Katie gets upset with me constantly because I just talk. Sometimes she says I'm talking just because I feel like I have to. And maybe there's something under there. Maybe I am just talking for the sake of talking sometimes. But either way, we do a lot of words. Sometimes we even do words good on this broadcast. And we're going to be bringing you some of the esteemed matches here for whichever week we're in. I keep forgetting if we're in week 10 or 11. 11
I had to type
forward.
it today, so I really hope so. I also got two zip files that said week 11, so if I'm getting completely it's either everyone's wrong or
you're casting
or it's right.
From the future.
Interstellar versus Mixalazeub is going to be the first game today that we have here. Interstellar, a team that just beat Celestial in the last week before. They're kind of on the up and up. I don't know if I can say the same about Mix. They're looking better because they finally stuck with a roster, but I feel like they really haven't necessarily been able to take things moving forward. And I'm moving in because Sid516 in chat says, enough of words. Let's start the action. So, map bans are going to be Bazaar and Frog Isle for Mixalazeub, and Shattered Desert and Warder's Gate, banned by Interstellar.
Nothing too atypical there, honestly. I mean, Frog Isle, I'm always upset to see get banned, but realistically, it leaves open the ones that we've seen the most. Splitstone Quarry has been very prominent. Won't be surprised if that's in this set. Same thing, I think Ice Mines tends to come through a little bit more often lately, and some teams have even been top 2ing it in Europe specifically, so maybe we'll see it sooner rather than later. All I can really hope is for when the next patch comes through. I can't remember if it's the next patch or 2 patches from now, but when Frozen Guard finally comes back in the pool. In like
a week, Gore. It's coming out in 5 days.
I need my Frozen Guard, and I'll be honest with you, Kresnik, I need my Serpent Beach back. I miss it. I didn't think I would miss Serpent Beach that much, but it's not going to be there. Not only that, but we're losing Brightmarsh as well. I'm going to be sad during that next update. It is not going to be I guess just as bright and full of my favorite maps. They're getting taken away from me. Funny. It had to happen eventually. But, we'll get to see them eventually. One day.
We will. And actually, we're going to give it another hurrah here because map 1 will be Brightmarsh between these two teams, the one that Mixalazeub chose. I'm actually not sure what chooses that. Now that we're in the 3rd rotation, I think it might be a coin flip again, or maybe who lost last time, and that would make the most sense because Mixalazeub are the team with the pick here in the picks and bans. The first pick. Europe, we've seen a lot of Ruckus banned. We've seen a lot of, I think, just off-tank priority in general. And, of course, the pocket supports that really can enable the DPSs to pop off.
Yeah, Corvus, Genos have been very, very prominent, I think, across all regions as of late, until IO gets fixed or whatever have you with that slight hitbox issue, I guess, that comes through. As long as she's gone competitively, I think we're going to still see some variety. Otherwise, we get to go ahead and talk about that's right. Everything happens so soon, Kresnik. I'm not sure if I'm ready for the return of IO. Look, it was only a few weeks from now last year, right? So I guess if you want to do that, go forward a couple of weeks, then back a year, where we saw IO have, I believe, 100% win rate on the world champion stage. So she's coming back just in time to do it again. Yeah, that's what we needed, right?
You know what it was like desking for that set? Game 3 in a row of Nip getting IO and winning. Me.
I think they're gonna lock in IO
well, the Knights, please just ban IO. Please. That's all they have to do is ban IO, and they just won't do it. Cuss just hitting his head against a brick wall and not being able to win something, but consistent bans here at the very least here in Europe.
It's weird. Again, tangential, I think related to what you had said, but it's so crazy to think that players that were on the team way back when that were able to adapt and ban Torvald in order to beat the Chinese teams did not then adapt to ban Io to beat the European team.
No, they didn't ban it because there were no bans then. They had to pick it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Way back when. I forgot. That was before time. Those are the dark ages of Paladins when there's no bans.
Yeah, that was the reason why the other teams didn't do it. They just kept forcing their comps into that. And Mixalazeub, I want to mention really quick. I know I'm kind of abandoning that to talk about the
That's
draft
fine.
because
Throw it out of there. It's years
I
ago.
like how they got rid of the 3 off tanks and just took the Ashe. I feel like Mix really got on the better side in general of this off tank trade. Yeah. I mean, there's what's left. They're gonna go Makoa. They're gonna have to go off tank Nando, off tank Terminus. Either way, they definitely lost a lot of the aggressive pressure from Interstellar.
And I think this is actually even better. Brightmarsh, there's only a few maps that Willow works on, I should say, but she is great on Brightmarsh in my mind, and I think Inara, especially with Genos behind her, instead of something like a Grover that maybe brings more healing output, is going to be devastated by this. Not necessarily in a good position for a secondary tank either. I guess Terminus Fernando is still available for you. Makoa technically still out there for any team that wanted to scoop him up as a secondary. But I think Willow is going to put a fork in the plans of Interstellar. Could give Mixalazeub a little bit of an edge, but I think it depends heavily on what they go with. Ashe by herself in there versus Inara. Kresnik, that's a little rough no matter what.
Yeah, that's why they get the Nando to kind of make up for it, right? To have him be the one contesting the point actively in front of them here. And the more I look at this Interstellar draft, I think they need a 3rd DPS or a 2nd support. I don't think they go double tank at this point with the way they got, especially with all the off tanks that were banned, them getting rid of 2 of their own. I'll give you, I know I have it typed in, Gore. I do have the last pick in front of me typed in. Okay. Looking at the Mixalazeub draft, and I think it does make sense. What do you think it is? It is a pick that is off the beaten path. Go.
Leon.
It's not that off the beaten path, but it is Drogo's.
Okay. Oh, no, wait. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I guess it's in the ditch next to the beaten path. It is very far off to the side.
He's also covered by like 3 feet of dirt, by the way, because people have left him behind. He's just been laying there for so long. Drogo's. Okay, I'll be honest. I would have gone through 17. I'm just going to pull a random number out. Other champions.
Okay, that is a lot of numbers.
I would have got to Drogo's, right? I just don't think I would have got there. I would have gone Leon. Cassie was already over there. I would have probably said Imani before I got to Drogo's.
True.
And that, I think, is the thing that is maybe more of an example of where he is. The fact that Imani can come up on a list of pickable champions instead of Drogo's kind of changes everything. But this is actually a great draft, I think, to have Drogo's in. There's no real hit scan on the other side, save for Corvus.
Yeah, I mean, the Corvus really isn't going to do too much to him. It is a little bit of pressure on the Cassie, right, to hit those long-range shots in the air. That's not the easiest thing in the world, but I also kind of hope that they don't run Worm Jets. I really think Fusillade, even against less counters, is still really powerful, especially once that Willow dives him. I feel like just get those 2 shots and get that kill, simply. With that, we can head into the game, which I do have ready, by the way, on Brightmarsh game number 1 between Interstellar and Mixalazeub here. It is going to be Worm Jets, it looks like, covered at the very start. We have some other interesting picks, like Slugshot from Devozy, talent that I actually personally really like, and now that I think about it, is going to have to be their Drogo's counter. No, he switched back, never mind.
Ooh, man, it's that awkward moment. Do you need to be tanky, or do you need to take down Drogo's? I guess they're putting all of the weight really into now to try and take him down. I mean, Cassie's going to have maybe the best matchup there that's consistent. We also might just get to see Uber's Pady go up against this Drogo's. I'm excited for it, though. We don't get to see a lot of Drogo's. Let's see if he can make it look good. If you have a name like Stop Banning BK, you've got to be able to give blasters a good name here. And running something like Worm Jets can also make it work, I think, pretty smooth on a map like Brightmarsh.
Yeah, and he's going to be playing it kind of like how Meta Pusher used to say you play Drogo's, like a 3rd sniper. This long-distance projectile poke from an angle that you can't really contest otherwise. And it's definitely helping Interstellar here in the start with that kind of long-range denial, but the first pick should open the floodgates for Mix.
Not able to find all of the lockdown just yet. Some of these shots, the ones that would find the kills just off the mark, but it's led to quite a large lead in favor of Mixalazeub. They finally get rid of Princess. So being able to lock down this Fernando's going to open up the door to get back onto the midpoint. Arco going down though, Kresnik. It's just so difficult to argue in favor of Interstellar here. Even if they're getting the damage, it's 81 to 30% right now. It's just waiting for somebody to step onto the point.
Yeah, and Mixer just maintaining control of this objective. It's going to be a lot of pressure on Snaze now to walk in and actually survive through a lot of this, but I mean, dead zone, he's already getting forced out, and Uber's even dove for it, but the health isn't looking great, and Enviel might be in position to collapse.
Being able to get aggressive, half health, good shots onto the Cassie, he's able to help find that one. They also get rid of the Corvus. Now they're just getting a full-on team wipe for Interstellar like it's nothing. Finally, Uber's Pady pulls something back, but he's the last man standing on the side of Mixalazeub. A 99% to 66% lead. They end up having a full wipe. Staggered out there is the Willow as well. Mixalazeub having to play catch-up this time, and they aren't going to be able to touch. That's good dismounts. Point goes over towards Interstellar despite the first round dominance from Mixalazeub, and now they're not stopping. That's going to be the ult from Koga just to get this one off to a good start.
And look at these combos that are still coming in. The Seismic Crash, the Accursed Arm. We'll get one more as they try to keep moving forward, and the Entropic might even kill the Castiel on the right as well.
I mean, this is just no chill for Interstellar. This is pure anguish from them having to spend the first one, let's say 30 seconds, maybe minute of the game that was playable on the back foot. Falling back. I mean, the damage from Drogos is being set up beautifully now and on the side of Invel, and it's given them this final moment of peace. It's gotten a little quiet here in the realm as they keep this payload moving forward. Mixalazeub have to regroup.
And they'll have a great chance to, though, sitting on this high ground. They just have to make sure their tanks don't go too early. It seems like they did not. They have everyone with them now. One kill on the side, and actually a sort of dominance just to stay alive, but I don't know if it needed to happen after that pick they got on the right side.
Yeah, using it maybe to try and just control the space, but again, just a wasted ult at this point. You're going to get a Nara, you get Barcode taken down, you're getting hyper-aggressive. Now, back towards the midpoint as they look for the kill onto a Genos. One good shot now, able to weave that one in there alongside Davozy. And they're going to be able to find this pressure. Kresnik right back to this 50-yard line on Brightmarsh. Maybe even more aggressive, but a mounted Nara's running up forward. Mixalazeub have a defense ahead of them. They could still hold out for another minute.
And I feel like how they're this far forward and fighting. I think the card is far enough back where if they take a fight, start going down, and then back up to die on the objective, it could definitely work out there. But here comes this Accursed Arm to maybe open the door, and it actually uses the Immortal on a defense of 40 seconds left, and the Dragon Punch will come in too.
And it's going to be able to connect right there. The Immortal's already down. You know where your target is if you're Stop Ban and BK. Find them and lock them down. The blast damage from this Drogo is doing exactly what you would want with no hard counters on the other side. He's so far had a pretty free run up in the sky right now. No one able to lock him down. Payload moving forward. 30 seconds left and beautiful damage immediately outside of the base looking to lock him up. There's not many ults that are game savers on the side of Mixalazeub. They might have to use something like the Fade Flight or the Entropic Breach, but we'll have to see if they commit to it because right now they got rid of Invel. That's one big damage dealer off the mark, and Nara's pretty low as well. If they can find one more kill, they might stop this one in its tracks, but the damage is coming up big for the Drogos. Finally, they start taking care of Snaze and the rest. And it looks like Barcode's not going to be able to do it all by himself. Mixalazeub stay alive.
And that could have been so good, I think, if they had just had one more damage dealer maybe on the side to get that little bit of extra follow-up, but unable to be there for that. And the Inara can't stay alive forever, especially with only a Genos to back them up in healing. But their damages are on top of the charts there. You can see the 3 DPS from Interstellar doing a phenomenal job so far there. And look at this thrust-focused build by Stop Banning BK here. Condescension is a card that you don't really see a ton, but I'm happy to see it coming in. Some people were kind of theory crafting with it. Oh, maybe it can actually keep us in the air longer. Combine that with Rain of Fire, you have constant resets on the thrust. One of the few ways to actually stay in the sky forever after some of those jetpack nerfs that Jorgos got a couple patches ago.
And I mean, so far it's working to keep him up in the sky enough, maybe not permanently, but he is flying around a lot from what we've seen, being able to find some essential resets. Now an early Seismic Crash going through. I don't see that stunning anybody, so unfortunately going to go wide. That was the only ult that was available there for Interstellar starting this one off. Close enough on the Dragon Punch. Fortunately, it's not going to be there in time to help save the Mover Spade. He makes it into the backline with that Fade Flight, finds himself one kill to be able to top it off, but that's 3 down, I believe, on the side of Interstellar so far. Well, now it's going to be 3 with Snaze going down and BK following shortly. We were able to get 9% at the very beginning, but it all falls apart here. Barcode with run, return, kill, and a little distraction factor, but it's not going to be enough to pull this point back in their favor.
They did trade out the healer, though, so if they keep poking down P.E.K.K.A, all the damage they deal will stick, which I think will make the retake potentially a little bit easier. And they have a Dragon Punch here to initiate as well, because of Stop Banning BK's, I think, just ability to connect those solid directs. That is going to be how they start this fight, and it looks like Devozy's not ready for it.
See ya! Just get the punch, get him out of there, and lock him down. Good Accursed Arm as well. Not going to be able to find the kill, but gets him low on the back to now. Pecha going to go down in just a second. Thanks to the Koga, he's going to find himself a double kill. Looking to lock it up. Let's make it 3, because Uber Spady happens to be in the wrong neighborhood at this time. And once again, Interstellar with a over 30% deficit on the point essentially find themselves a full-on team wipe. Everyone waiting to regroup, try to figure out how to tackle this one. A couple of dismounts coming out early as well, but Ash is going to be able to make her way back here. Not in time, though. 99 ticks over to 100. Interstellar grab themselves the second point again.
And just great use of their ultimates. God, if only there was some ultimate that was in the game that maybe would save their teammates and help them extend a fight and not let them die. That could have been spent there by Mixalazeub, but fortunately it looks like they just don't have that in their draft here. Speka uses their ultimate on the side as they get collapsed on by that Drogoz from above. Just, I don't know, I'm still a little salty about that use earlier by that Nando. It didn't have to be used there, but look at this by Devosi just in the middle of the team, trying to extend a fight where they're down several players just to stall the cart.
Yeah, and it admittedly doesn't stall him too much. In fact, it does help find a kill, but loses his life nonetheless. Payload going to be moving forward. 45 seconds burned off the clock this time around. So it stalls him a little bit, Kresnik, but I mean, at the end of the day, you didn't buy as much time as you want with an assert dominance. I think, especially you, former frontline player and coach Kresnik, could say it's maybe not exactly where you wanted Mixalazeub to be using both the Immortal and the assert dominance here in this round.
Yeah, for sure, the ultimate's definitely not going where I'd want them to at the very start. Is Devosi actually manages to get into the back and get a trade-out kill here, but these ultimates still looking great for Interstellar as this card is still rolling. And look at Devosi just going to spawn camp now while the card's still rolling.
Well, yeah, the payload just keeps rolling, and unfortunately ADC is bad, is looking to learn the hard way that you can't carry as much as you might want on a Genos here. Locked down. Still not dead, though. That's actually more impressive than anything. He's dancing around successfully now with the Drogoz helping him out just to figure out whether or not they can get aggressive. Killing off Devosi here actually might be detrimental. If they could just ignore him for a little bit, they can get there. Either way, 12 seconds without an Ash. Everybody's going to be happy about that. You get regrouped, you get your Genos right back in the fight, and you get right outside the base here. 37 seconds left on the clock to try and conceal the deal on this one. Just a little wide on that through time and space, moving it forward. Good Drogoz shots, finds another kill on Nepeka. Now they're looking to convert that one, no problem. Devosi alive, but just off the mark. Ends up letting this go 3-1 in favor of Interstellar.
Yeah, I mean, how do you justify that dive in the back line? I mean, I didn't know who to watch. I'm like, all right, ADC's dead, but then they'll maybe take a fight 4 versus 4 without a tank over there, maybe spend an ultimate, but they had them used earlier. I still think the timings ended up being okay ult-wise for Interstellar there, as Mixalazeub. Devosi, I think, is just focusing too much on trying to bully this back line. It's something that's decent, but Genos can heal so well without needing to be in that fight. And now this Genos is even just going to play utility even more, rushing Record 3 before Chronos 3, just to shoot down those Ash shields, burst down those Nando shields, and help their team get some more kind of stable damage onto these tanks.
That Gatecrasher Indomitable combo, keeping Devosi alive a lot in these backlines. Now's the time to make the big difference. Just close enough. 87%, 88% there on the 2 tank ults. But Accursed Arm comes out first. One more shot just off the mark. Not going to be able to find the kill in the backline. Luckily, that's where Barcode comes in. Finds 1. Is looking for 2 here. Devosi ends up looking the wrong way. Breaks his ankles. Finds the kill. Now it's able to return 1 back there onto Barcode. But great kills to start this one off for Interstellar.
Yeah, what an initiation there. Both the hit scans just completely collapse on them over there, but I don't think it's over for Mix. They have this Fey Fly to open the door, and maybe an Immortal here, as Xandro's life is in danger. And look how far in Pekka managed to get, all the way to the objective, right through the team.
Yeah, and able to get down that Immortal just in time. You stay alive, the stun gets eaten, but Davosi's still moving forward. Assert Dominance hasn't landed just yet, though. They're trying to make sure it happens now with 2 big kills to turn this one around, just like you called it. They're not out of it yet. He's looking for the kill onto the Drogoz. Going to be able to find that one, no problem. Going big now is the Cassie, and they're going to be able to pull this one back. They've got 60% to catch up, though, Kresnik, and that is a tall order.
Oh no, Enviel, he picked the biggest mount in the game, so it was clipping through the wall. Every single other one is smaller. What a choice by him, and another rough choice to maybe go so early. Overtime might not even be there now, as they have these defensive ultimates to spend, and Mix just steal it away.
Now keeping themselves alive in this one. So far, it's been a pretty clean game on the side of Interstellar. First mid that Mixalazeub have been able to pick up so far. And they find themselves in the glorious position, Kresnik. You can't lose right here, no matter how this push goes. It could be the most devastating next 2 minutes of your life. And unfortunately, for Interstellar, I should say, it doesn't equate to a win, because you're just trying to find a defense. We'll have to see how they manage it, because right now, I'm actually interested in this, the Sky Battle. We don't get these too often anymore. Willow versus Drogos. These used to determine who would win. Of course, now everybody else on the side has to kill them off, so we don't get to see it anymore.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing else following up there. They kind of look the other way because it's easier to go for the consistent shots, right? You know, you want to be able to actually do damage and help your team instead of maybe get some clips for the frag vid montage. With Interstellar still being very aggressive on this defense, and again, always bleeding out time is good. It's exactly what you want to be doing on this, but Interstellar maybe overstepping. That Genos gets caught out by Willow.
Now it's going to be good lockdown. One more shot. Just found that castle. No one's in position to find it. Stop banning BK up in the sky, but the kills are starting to come up Mixalazeub's way. They can find one more. There it is for now, though. Not for Uber Spady. Able to lock down this Drogos once more as payload's moving. It's going to take a little bit of time, but they still have a minute left, Kresnik, to keep it moving forward. A comfortable amount on Brightmarsh.
Yeah, and Snaze has to throw himself away. Look at this escape. Barcode manages to do it as well. And Mixalazeub, they need to be careful, though. The card has so long to go. And even though they have a Corvus who can have some decent lack of line of sight healing, someone has to be close enough for him to heal in the first place. And Interstellar, they want to push out before he's actually close enough to make it happen, but Barcode completely alone, isolated by Nauk, and that's exactly what Mix wanted to see.
And now you're getting a really good angle, just pincer onto Snaze. Nowhere that can feel safe. They're constantly barraged by Davozy. By the way, no one's looked at Davozy for a hot minute now. His health bar has been sitting at full. This payload is looking to just walk itself on in. There's going to be a touch from Barcode, trying to make sure that he can stall out as long as he can. That health bar does not last long. You buy time for Snaze to get back down here, though, and that's going to be the big essential moment. This tank staying alive. Davozy on the other side, not. Pekka going down. One more shot could do it, but the healing is going to be just enough to keep them in this fight. Now it's up to Now overall to make sure that things keep going their way. Good kills and good shots coming down from the Cassie, cleaned up by Pekka as they continue getting aggressive. Uber Spady has literally nothing in his health bar, but is still moving forward. Barcode is in the back line, finally able to clean up one of them. It looks like it's going to cost him his life to do so.
And he might even get another. There's no way, Barcode. How does he win that? The lifesteal. I wasn't enough for the Corvus to stay alive, and Interstellar hold that. Barcode. A miracle. In the back line there, this Koga just untouchable. Dances on the wall, and everyone just no object permanence for Mixalazeub. They forget that he's there completely.
Well, that's just, I think, all in all, unfortunate for Mixalazeub because they had that. I mean, that payload was there. If they have a little more pressure and maybe just a little less Barcode is the better way to describe it, then they are able to make it forward with that. And so they hold it up where it is now. Still 3-2 in favor of Interstellar, but do they have what it takes here, Chris, to seal the deal?
I think both teams have good ultimates to maybe make it happen. The tank ults on the side of Mix are fantastic. Plus, of course, Faithflight's a great initiator. But I think with the lack of resilience on the side of Mixalazeub, everything could fall apart with one good combo, right? Just a seismic crash into a time and space. If they're even slightly grouped up, that could wipe the whole team, and it looks like that's how they're going to start.
I mean, a beautiful shot from ADC. Make sure to get one at the beginning. Barcode going to get those sweet, sweet immunity frames. There's going to be an immortal, but it's not going to save anybody outside of himself, and Davozy maybe, and it's only going to do a little bit. Pekka is under duress now as Info comes in, gets the kill. He's able to lock him down. Snaze, maybe not where he expected to be, but exactly where he wants to be, deep in the back line, helping be the guiding force for his team. It's 51 to 6%, maybe a kill coming out on the side of Davozy here. Onto the support, but ultimately you trade your life out for it, and that's now 63, still rising on the side of Interstellar.
Yeah, whatever. I did not mean to be such a medium, such a predictor of the future there. I was like, that would be a great idea, and then it was just the first thing that happened is Mix. They retake it because Interstellar has to play safe. They have a Genos, they don't have these burst heals. They have to play patiently and wait for that, though. Enviel doesn't seem to be thinking that way. With separate from the rest of his team, wants to do something early. It's kind of getting punished a little bit for it.
We'll have to see again if they can keep that pressure up. Because right now, well, they need it if you're Mixalazeub. You're able to get in here, 65 to 63, and they're starting to take control again. Pekka back in position. No ults available on either side right now to continue this aggression. And Barcode's finding some good shots to keep it going. Keep your eye on that percentage, 72 to 72, now 78 on the side of Interstellar, but they're starting to lose their lives. It's checkerboard up in the kill feed, but with Now alive, I don't think you can rely on anything for your frontline. Snaze goes down, and they don't have anyone to take the place. Pekka is low as well, but that shield can do a lot of work for Fernando.
Yeah, for sure, Pekka by so much time, but a little bit of cap time kind of slipped through the cracks there, and they're going to have to throw Uber's on the point. The grip may be good, but they just need to buy time for the tank to get back.
That's going to be at least one overtime timer in their favor. Davozy takes a lot of damage just trying to get there. There's the Dragon Punch as well. It times out right before it hits. It doesn't matter. No one's over there. Interstellar, they squeak that one out. I mean, it feels as though that one's going to go either way. In fact, Mixalazeub maybe in a position to try and scoop it back, but Interstellar nonetheless come out on top.
Yeah, they keep it. Mixalazeub definitely keeps it competitive the whole time, but Interstellar, I really liked the way that their draft ended up playing out by the end. The fact that they actually comboed ultimates, the fact that they had this Koga kind of play this weird. Normally you see Koga try to play kind of in the mid line so he can do a hard dive if he needs to, but also get out. But I've never seen a Koga just spend all 3 dashes to go behind their entire team to try to do something. That just doesn't happen without instantly dying, but Barcode made up the difference there between that. We could look at the stats and see how well that ended up going for them. He did top damage in the whole game, it looks like. I thought Nauk maybe had him beat out, but this Koga was an absolute force.
Yeah, I think that might be a understatement overall. I mean, there's several moments where realistically that Koga is the reason that they are able to stay in this game. I think there's a point where that conversion, goes through otherwise, and we start looking at a completely different segment of game, at least a different mid-fight that comes through. So, ultimately, I think saving grace for them. A lot of good numbers on that guy's side as well. 20 and 11 for Barca.
Wow. And I honestly thought he was going to be dead more. I know Koga's supposed to be sustaining, but, I mean, he threw himself at the back line. That normally does not leave you with that positive of a KDA. I thought maybe that luxury would go to stop banning BK, who did go 19 and 8. He did manage to keep his distance from the team and get some great poke damage with that Drogoz. I did love to see Drogoz being played, and honestly, it just felt like it fit right in, right? I didn't feel like I hadn't been seeing Drogoz for the last year, almost.
Yeah. Look, I can count on literally one hand how many times I think we've seen Drogoz this year. It is one. I think we've seen him one other time because we hyped it up.
One other time, yes.
Oh, is it 2?
No, I think it's 2. One other time.
But yeah, twice total overall, and that's just sad. That makes me that's heartbreaking right there. Look, that's just 2 fingers. I have 3 more on just this hand that could be Drogoz. Look at that. And there's none of them. I just miss him. I wish he could show up a little bit more. Unfortunately, we do live currently in a world of hit scan. These players love their Victors, their Vivians. Honestly, even though we don't see her a lot, their Leons, their Strixes, all of them come through. Maybe one day, though, he'll get to come through, and we'll see him more often. And technically, he's got a win rate here in Europe now, so there's something to be said about that.
I think it's, 50% now? Because he lost on Chroma's Face and won now with Interstellar, so we'll see how well they try to protect that. Just like how North America is probably going to try to protect that new Sky win rate, by the way, which is, I believe, 100% after that easy PogChamp game that happened last week. Yeah, Sky has 6 games played and 100% win rate.
Dude, it's the same thing. You go back to Moji's win rate last year, right? When she was picked up, only when you would be able to find her successful. So naturally, you're able to kind of shuffle that. Either way, I think you end up in this position. Do I think we'll see Drogoz again? Nah, not this set. Maybe not this set. But
not this next game,
on where we're going. Not this next game. Yeah, at the very least, not going forward. Maybe not. I mean, we still got a few weeks left, so there's still a lot of potential for him. But at least not today. Sure. I'm feeling not today.
Yeah, and I don't really like him on this next map, which will be Jaguar Falls as we go into picks and bans. I understand Interstellar wanting to come here, right? I mean, they just won on Brightmarsh. It was close, but it was strong enough in their favor where I would say, yeah, you can go to basically the same map with a few less corners that you can really cut around here. And I think bans will probably stay the same considering how close the 2 maps are to each other. And Interstellar, they agree with me, and Ruckus will be the first one they take out.
Not surprising. We're in Europe. If Ruckus, there's honestly, when we're in Europe, we might as well just have 3 bans and perma-ban Ruckus because it doesn't feel like he's ever going to come through. And it's actually the ROM, the Atlas alongside him. I mean, all of these off tanks, once again, getting stripped away, makes that Ashe maybe a little more not predictable. Prioritized just because of the fact that she is a rarity at this point. Alongside that, Genos being banned means Corvus is someone that you have to look after as well.
Yeah, the Corvus being picked up first. Interesting to see it prioritized over the Ashe, but I think it's probably just because of the Genos ban, I would say. I think you just want to have the specific pocket healer that a lot of teams kind of lean on these days. Inara picked up by Mixalazeub, and I'm assuming that's just to take it away, from Interstellar, so they can have that Inara Corvus combo, which is really powerful, and you don't really want to see on the other side. Shaolin also as a backup, so instead of the Ashe, they go with something that kind of deals with it instead. That crippling arrow to stop her as she's going to wind up. That shoulder bash can set your team up, depending on what other tanks and DPS you have, to get quite a few kills.
Sha is always that interesting pick, though, that when he comes in, he's very good and very not good at the same time, right? Like, he comes through and he can either have the best performance, be the reason your team wins, or he can come through and he's just another DPS at the end of the day. I don't think he's necessarily detrimental to your team, but we'll have to see if Mixalazeub are going to be able to make him look good as they lock in the Damba alongside him. Koga, though, back on the other side. Jag Falls, good map for him. This is actually the interesting thing. Watching it yesterday, I'm almost concerned that Torvald, even though he's big in North America and not so big here in Europe, he would pair pretty well with this Koga on this map, even if there are a lot of line-of-sight breaks that can make the shielding a little more difficult.
It is just one of his best maps in general, I would say. Torvald, Jaguar Falls, it is great. And I stopped the draft for a second because I wanted to go and look and see exactly the numbers of what Koga's win rate is in the PPC of Europe right now, because I remember it being very high. It is 77%.
Now, Kresnik, correct me if I'm wrong. That seems pretty good. Based on my knowledge.
It is pretty up there. I'm going to leave that open as well so I can refer to that later. But 77% win rate. And he's going this low.
Big win rate.
He's won 10 times and lost 3. I feel like they've put themselves in a great position, but now this Koga's going to be playing against Uber Spady on Eevee. Something that we have gassed up many a time, I feel, in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good one. It's been there for years and years. And granted, it's been on old forms of Chroma Space in the way back when. It's been all sorts of play styles and teams that have had Uber Spady's Eevee on that side. Good map for that could potentially come through. Not necessarily the first flank I think of on this map. Koga, Xin, even I think Maeve, to an extent, kind of come up on the list maybe a little before her. So we'll have to see if she can be the big difference maker. As they get the Nando, the Ashe, the Corvus, the Cassie, the Koga, it feels like a lot of comfort there for Interstellar.
All right, Gore. I have the last pick typed in. It's a little off the beaten path. It's not Drogo's.
I was going to say Drogo's.
It's not Drogo's.
Just because. Okay, a little off the beaten path.
It's more off the beaten path than Leon, I would say. It might be...
I think this could be... I think Amani could fit right here. I would lock in Amani right here.
Okay. It's Grok.
Oh, right. Grok exists.
Oh, yes.
Right. The blue guy. Yeah, no, yeah. I don't know. I feel like Brightmarsh, Jag Falls. Let me look. Ashe, I guess, is a good target. Fernando, I guess, is a good target. I feel like there's enough to bounce off of, but we'll have to see how that one works, huh?
I don't know if I really like it into the Koga. I feel like the Koga will kind of just bully him because the dashing should also cleanse the shock pulses a lot of the time. That's what I think the biggest issue is going to be with it, which is getting bullied by this Koga, having a ghost walk, being predictable, easy to be chased. I don't know if I love it, but I do think the ultimate is amazing. I think Grok has one of the best ults in the game for coordinated teams because just run him down. If your entire team is going that fast into you as just a Mondo death ball, you're not really gonna be able to stop them.
The only problem I have is normally, like, my favorite pairing would be, like, Grok ult with King Bomb or something like that, like when you can get it so that somebody else is zooming. I mean, I guess you can apply it to Eevee and Shaolin, but I don't see them maybe using it the same way that some of the other champion mixes can really come out. So we'll have to, I give them credit. I think Mixalazeub have an interesting pickup here in their draft. But we'll have to see if it gets to come to fruition the exact way that it's supposed to. It's going to be Now coming through. And look, I saw Now's Cassie last game. I'm going to give it all the attention it deserves. It will do work here on Grok. I have a strong feeling that this is going to be a good performance, but is it going to be good enough? That's the question.
We'll have to see how they make it work, this Grok. I think they're going to have to play so slow, though. That's the biggest issue, right? Until they get their Grok ult, they have to play very, very slowly to make this work. And Interstellar are not going to be playing at that pace. They have a Koga, they have double off-tanks, hybrid main tanks. They're going to want to run into them, and you can already see the space that they're taking here on this flank side. Ashe and Cassie cutting into dark and completely surrounding this Nara just to start.
Getting aggressive, good damage so far on Pekka. And it's going to force that Inara on out of there to make sure that they're under control. Just a little bit overall, but the healing's going to be able to come through, and she's still around as of right now for this Inara. See if they can stay alive long enough. No first blood as of yet, but honestly, the first blood might be this midpoint. It's 60% to 3. Interstellar seem to have a pretty good grip on this. Uber's Payday trying to get a good flank around the back. It's not having a really solid time at this point. A couple of good shots, though, might be able to change the way the pace is going. Looking for that first blood, able to find it there. It's now on to Barcode, able to find one. The blast damage looking good for Invul. I want to say making the biggest swap from Andro to Nando. Not necessarily the easiest one to make work. So far, it's 1 for 1 on either side.
The classic, and this stalemate ends up finally going in favor of Mixalazeub because with this triple DPS they've surrounded, that's how you have to play it, and it worked basically perfectly. Snae's now caught out by that Warder's Field plus that wall, but it looks like Interstellar have a plan to retake with the Cyclone.
They're getting aggressive. Barcode with a double kill, keeping them in this one, trying to break their ankles again. At this point, I'm starting to contemplate banning this Koga away, at least on maps similar to Brightmarsh and Jag Falls, because it seems to be too much power for one man to handle. Either way, 99% ticks over to 100. Interstellar, once again in the lead, and honestly, with Mixalazeub dead, respawning now, they should be able to get this payload off to a pretty good start, at least for the first portion.
Especially if they manage to maybe get a pick on Ubers here. They used the rapid shot, did not find anything with it. To peel them off, basically. But look at this Ice Storm. Look at this engagement by Ubers. Unseen, just completely around them, and a great start to this.
Just stalling it out, right? 30 seconds off the clock, 2 more minutes to try and burn through. And hey, they're doing a good job. This is going to be a nice delayed kill on the Snaes, which is going to make it even more difficult for them to go ahead and get back. This Wormhole Eevee just keeps bouncing back and forth. Either way, staying alive and keeping things going in their favor. Although now, with Now and Davozy going down, it's going to start changing pace once again. Maybe more pressure on Uber's Payday to make sure the big differences happen. Good kills need to start coming through to make sure this payload stays where it is.
Yeah, they're losing it for now, though. I like the aggressive defense, but I felt like they didn't commit to holding them by the objective, and I think they maybe gave up a little bit too much ground now, losing their only tank left here on this defense as another Cyclone Strike comes in from Barcode, but Urs might have his number at the end of it.
Found a couple of shots. He's high enough health now to continue getting aggressive. Ults coming up on the side of Interstellar, at least 4 of them that are going to be available here as they just use Cyclone Strike. Getting aggressive now is already taken down on the side. Health bar is looking pretty poor on the side of Mixalazeub. 2 of them dead in the blink of an eye. There goes the Shaolin as well. Eevee, like it's nothing. 1800 health isn't that hard to burn through. And Interstellar find themselves the conversion. Start this one off 2-0.
Yeah, a great start to this game from Interstellar. I mean, even after that fight maybe starting to not go in their favor, their retake ended up being great. The fact that Barcode had already charged up a Cyclone Strike made the dive from Mixalazeub kind of pointless. It couldn't collapse on anybody. The only person who was in the middle of them was an invincible Koga. You can't do anything when that's going on around you. And now they have to rely on, looks like they don't have Grok ult yet, just this Seismic Crash really to catch someone with the CC. Otherwise, not going to be able to get much out of this at all, and there's already stacking just a wall of resilience up for Interstellar.
I'm looking, I always try to talk about comeback mechanic coming into this, things that can make a difference there. Got a lot of cauterize available, a lot of yellow items on Mixalazeub, way more than I'm used to seeing on the red squad, at least. A lot of reds and yellows over there. Primary colors only, as far as they're concerned. They're going to get aggressive. There's the Ice Storm. Pekka looking to walk through that one, maybe for some defense, maybe for some safety. Barcode is low, but Barcode's not dead just yet. Looking for potentially his trade. Doesn't find it. Pekka going to be able to find the last shot. Saves Uber's Payday. Keeps the CV alive. Now that 12%, well, that's nothing in comparison to what a comeback mechanic can do, especially with Inara standing on the point. So advantage over Mixalazeub, especially if they can kill off Invul here.
Perfect staggered kill there with Pekka getting that chase down at the end. And also a flank from Davozy. Look at this. He came around, caught Snaes, even though it was just his own spawn. They still didn't expect him there. And the Tempest from the Grok maybe finding something else, but they just get caught in another Cyclone Strike.
I mean, Barcode's able to find one, trades out his life, but leaves the rest low enough, theoretically, to find some of those kills. They're at 70% though, still rising on this side. overall. Kresnik, and it looks like they might be able to convert it. Invul going to be able to get the touch and stall this one out. In fact, push them all away. 27%. It's not a lot, but it's something to work with. They're going to try their best. Ults to hold down, save for about to be the Entropic Breach as it's going to come up here. See if it comes into play. Uber's payday incredibly low, but gets the healing much needed to stay alive and get aggressive. Shots starting to ring true. Ice Block already used. Barcode is going to be the one that they're trying to make the play against. Unfortunately, it doesn't work there. ADC is bad, gets the kill onto P.E.K.K.A, and now they're going to get aggressive even more. Now goes down. Yeah, sure, you trade out Snaze, but does it matter if Barcode can continue harassing the backline and distracting them? All three members that are alive around the mid looking at this Koga and trying to lock him down. They're not hitting the shots either, so they need to get the touch. P.E.K.K.A going in, but just off. Good little grasp. Knockback, it looked like, even from Interstellar to make sure they get this point.
Yeah, and that double knockback stacking on the Inara just a little bit too late on that CC immunity to make her be able to get in, so they managed to do it. But P.E.K.K.A stayed alive through all of that and actually cleaned up a kill on that Cassie who stopped that touch in the first place, so a great start to a defense by Mix, even countering out that is her dominance. Honestly, I probably would have just let it land. She's not doing much in the back line. Just get that ultimate out and don't give them a chance to use it for the retake. But Mixalazeub now, I like that they're defending this. They just need to not give up a ton of space here. I think it's almost better to dive forward and get a good second fight, and it looks like the fight might be coming in now with the Tempest.
And they're going to use it to get aggressive like you had highlighted during picks and bans. There's going to be an assert dominance to make sure they don't lose ground, though, to see if it plays anything, because they need some kills to make sure that ground stays where it is now. In the back line, looking for some damage onto the Cassie. It's looking good. Barcode, though, again, it feels like I tried to highlight literally anybody else. And then Barcode just decides to do anything in the game. 3 kills found right there that are in his favor. And looking potentially a 4th. There's that Ghost Wall coming in favor. And now actually gets the turnaround for it, because who was in the backline the whole time? Invul made it back to that payload. It's about halfway there, and they have a minute left. Granted, they're going to have to break through this defense one more time to get there.
If I was a teammate of anybody on Stop Any BK's team, I would be very mad right now if I was Stop Any BK, because he's just getting bounced on. People are like, I'll come save you, and all they do is make him take all the shock pulse damage. He would have killed that Gromp, but they gave him the bounces there. Immortal actually forced out, and Scout. Interesting to see all these ults coming out so early from Interstellar.
They're getting aggressive. He's trying to get this payload moving, though. 40 seconds left. Try and get the conversion. Feels like overtime might become a factor here, but we'll have to see if they can even make it that far. Good seismic crash, finds a kill onto Barcode. Looks to lock down Invul as well with a beautifully placed wall for P.E.K.K.A to make sure they stay locked up. Now just gets aggressive. Look, this is how you do it. You need it done on Inara. This is what you do. Just go forward. Use your Tempest if you have it to make sure you get that mobility. Now should be able to charge that one back, no problem. 20 seconds left. Everyone's falling down unless I see that person in the back. Invul sneaks back onto the payload. This should be done with 10 seconds left. It looks like they're paying too close attention to the payload this time. They're not going to let him do it one more time. Unfortunately, that might be all she wrote. Goes in for the overtime touch. How long can you stay alive? 10,000 or 1,000 health and falling almost like it's nothing. It's the bar. Snaze forced to go in and hold on to it. Doesn't look like it's going well, Kresnik.
Yeah, I know. I don't think there's any way. They can stagger it out here, but the spawn proximity is too close for Mixalazeub. Even if they evenly trade everything, Mix will end up the betters at the end of this fight. But Koga actually can delay quite a bit. He's buying a lot of time, and Infield even makes it back from the respawn.
Trying to get aggressive. Oh, Barcode maybe goes too aggressive there as they keep it going. That is the downside of overtime. The timer just goes away a little too fast for him there. And they do manage to stall it out. Mixalazeub happy because they don't get 4-0'd here on Jaguar Falls. But it doesn't feel like it's been too close. I mean, some of these mid-fights have been going back and forth, but this one, I think, has been, well, mostly in favor of Interstellar. Barcode's 9-9. Stop Banning BK's 8-5. They're pretty close to making sure this one goes through. But now with all the items on Mixalazeub, there's a question around whether or not they can cap a point.
Yeah, there's a lot of resilience. I mean, resilience 3 on every single member of Interstellar. So Fear does nothing, Seismic Crash does nothing. The ultimates just do not hit the same way that they were at the start of the game. So Mix just have to win their duels. They have to win their duels or just hope that now can kind of out-sustain a lot of them. But look at this, P.E.K.K.A meets them at first, immediately has to leave because of that hard stack, and now they have no one to stop this hard flank from Ash and Koga.
Well, they're trying to stop it as much as they can, but Koga does not stop easily. Barcode looking to get aggressive, finds one kill, uses the dash, does avoid the Dread Serpent for a second, but not long enough. Davozy is going to be able to lock that down. Again, another big flex from Ash to Shaolin, trying to make it work, and so far looking fine doing it. So whether or not they can seal the deal. Great assert dominance over the wall, slam dunks onto them all, Damba as well, and gets rid of him. It's 90% here for Interstellar, just trying to win this map. Right here is all said and done. A couple more shots into Pekka. Davozy's already gone. 2 members on the side trying to be left standing. It's Uber's Payday and Davozy, now that are standing there. Just trying to stay alive. Cyclone Strike locks down the objective. They're just buying time for their tanks, though. Can they get back? And can they get this touch? Eevee goes in one more time, finally taken out, but bought enough time for the Inara to come back in, touchdown, and keep overtime going. Looking for the kill is going to be Pekka, but can they find it? Knocked way away from the objective, the wall, and the movement just in time. But Barcode, meanwhile, has been slaughtering literally everybody else on the team. That's all they need. Interstellar win this one.
No one can turn around to help. That's what it is, right? No one can actually turn around to afford to help. Everyone has to look at the objective, and Interstellar are just swarming them. That Corvus sustain is so impactful there because he's just autopiloting healing one person, but 3 people on the team are getting healed, plus that lifesteal that's being gifted to them as well. So much sustain that they can't really get through with the composition that they had in that kind of chaotic moment. I think the Grok looked better than I thought, personally. I liked him in some of those duels that they ended up taking, but it really just, at the end of the day, they were stacking so hard on CC, Resilience shut them down.
Yeah, that's just the downside. Resilience, there's not often we get to see it come through, but Resil, let's list them. Seismic Crash, the Dread Serpent that comes down, Ice Storm arrow. To an extent, the crippling arrow. Like, there's so much on the side that Mixalazeub locked in that Resil is so good against. It's almost impossible not to spend credits on it. I mean, it's going out of stock at this point. They're buying it so fast. Damage numbers look really good there as well. Stop banning BK as another great game, 9-6-9 there. This time, though, from Drogoz to Cassie. And I think it works out well enough for them there on Interstellar. And I think they agree, 4-1, still a victory in their book, as they lead the set 2-0, Kresnik. I mean, they could just seal it right here.
They 100% could. I want to say, though, really quick, before I drop this screen, shoutouts to Ubers, who died less than his own support on this Eevee. I mean, we talk about, people call him an Eevee one-trick, I think, jokingly in chat. But he plays like one in that skill. He's still flexible enough on everything else, but he's playing like an absolute specialist on that character, looking very, very hard to pin down and stop being all over the team. Map number 3, though, Mixalazeub, we are now in the loser's pick section, and it's going to be Stone Keep, so we're sticking with the standards here. Or as the set moves on in Mixalazeub, this could be their final stand maybe, but they should be feeling confident. I feel about this one, I feel like these fights are kind of close. That last map draft, I think, was really what ran away from Mix.
And I think that's the biggest thing. You know, draft-wise can run away from you, but Stone Keep is kind of the great equalizer in my mind. I think there's a lot of maps, like Ice Mines used to be the place to go. Hey, let's slow it down. Let's try to do it that way. Win on the 0.7 fight as opposed to trying to do anything else in the game. But I think Stone Keep is realistically the one that really can go half and half. It feels very neutral for a lot of these teams. Everyone's practiced it and played it for years and years at this point, so you should know it. And it's also malleable. I feel like there's so many drafts that can work out well on this map. And so depending on what Mixalazeub do, they could find the style that fits best.
Yeah, I think a lot of options for Mix, but they're going to keep their bans about the same. I would be shocked to see them to change anything there, honestly, at this point in Interstellar. They start with the Atlas, though, instead of the Ruckus this time, so that is a minor mix-up that they've sat with for now. Mixalazeub, they banned Genos also, so their 2 bans remain exactly the same. Their plan has to be within those 5 picks that they get to choose from as Interstellar take out Corvus. So actually, wait, he's here. Core.
Lock him in.
He's here. They have to, right? If he's being banned every single set, you have to do it, right? They're not gonna do it. Maybe I don't think he's bad on this map. It's Stone Keep.
Okay.
So it's not a bad Ruckus map.
Let's put our thinking brains on for this one. So maybe they think Interstellar won't play Ruckus. And now that I see
They're
Ash
picking
up there,
Ruckus.
oh, never mind. So maybe this Inara is so essential to them thinking they can get a victory that things will go wrong. But it also puts Interstellar into an interesting position. Ash Ruckus isn't necessarily the most winning combo of tanks that we typically get to see. I mean, Ruckus typically comes through. He's really good as that third damage / second tank kind of deal. Like, he really is the most off-tank in my mind, because he really does fit both standards, I guess, very well. It flanks well. And so Ash, also doing that all pretty well, seems to want to fight in the same areas as him. Interstellar maybe want to grab up another tank to be a point tank, but triple tank has not been very efficient lately, so I don't know if that's really a route I want anybody to be going.
I mean, they're just going to play, from these picks, other than the Victor, this is just a dive comp. Like, they're going to just run straight at them and not really stop at anything.
Victor picks up the scraps
to make it all the way in. Victor will clean up. Victor will soften them up for them to go in, right? They'll wait around corners. As soon as someone is weak, that's when the dive comp kind of commits and tries to collapse. But look at this fight from Mixalazeub. They grab that Talus, and who do they dive now? Like, who's the dive target now? Is it Inara? Is it Damba? Damba lives. Andrew runs away. Talus runs away. Unless Mixalazeub pick up, I guess they can dive the Kinessa, but Kinessa also runs away. There's really no hard target for Interstellar to land on.
So ultimately, I guess you try to just control keep at this point. I mean, that's where I'd send both of those tanks, although I'd want something like a Bomb King behind him, I think, more so to give some push, I guess is the better term for it. I guess Ash can maybe fill some of those slots. We'll have to see. I just like blasters here. But I also think it's hard to run anything because hit scan is so readily available on the side of Mixalazeub that if you lock up anything that's in the sky, you're dead.
Okay, Gore. I have the last pick typed in.
Okay.
It's off the beaten path.
It's off the beaten path.
It's not Drogoz or Grok.
It's not Drogoz or Grok.
One pick.
Depth of Paladins knowledge. Come to me now. Man,
become the chair too.
It's got to be a DPS in my mind. Maybe it's a flank.
It is a mobile character, yes.
Mobile character. But you said off the beaten path, so it's not going to be something like an Eevee. She actually works well here. Maeve works well here.
Okay. Gore,
you know what? I'm going to go back to the Imani. I think she works well on this map.
I feel bad because you held that one for a really long time because this was a bit. I was going to say, oh, it's Kali, haha, and then just change it to Eevee because it is Eevee.
Oh, it is Eevee? Oh, yeah, I talked myself out of Eevee.
You were right. You took yourself out of it because I wanted to joke with you and say Kali, but you held that for so long. I'm like, oh, God, it's not fun. It's not even funny anymore. It's Eevee. They're going to be
think
mobile.
This one. I'm going to guess it right for one of these. That was my goal. Oh, and then I goofed it up anyway.
No, yeah, Kali would be a sick pick, right? But no, it's Eevee. It's a very normal pick. I had a whole bit set up. I was thinking about it the whole last game, and then I psyched myself out of it there near the end. But map number 3, Mixalazeub. Looking at their draft, I like what they picked into this dive. Honestly, I really don't hate it for what they're into. They don't really have a set target to land on. It's gonna have to be the Dom. It's gonna have to be the Nessa, but both of them can just run away.
Yeah, it's the safety that Mixalazeub have here that I think is going to be concerning. I mean, like you said, let's see, if you dive Inara, she can't run away. She'll just not die because she's Inara. Andro, Damba, Talus, Kinessa just get on out of there as fast as they want, right? So, I don't know. I feel like Mixalazeub are in an interesting position here. This is a good dynamic for them, I think, going into it. Although Interstellar, I think the biggest weakness is maybe not having someone to completely contend Inara on that point. We'll have to see whether or not they can truly keep that pressure up.
Yeah, we can head into the game and take a look at how they maybe start things off here, at least for now, how they build. I would be very interested if this is actually Stun Damba. I highly doubt that Lars is going to actually stick with it, but oh yeah, he's already off of it. I was going to say, Stun Damba solo heal used to be sick, actually. I am a proponent of it, but they removed Snake Pit, or they reworked Snake Pit, and it's not quite as good anymore. Definitely expect to see them kind of hanging out normally. Nothing really too surprising, I think, out of any of these loadouts for what these teams want to be doing. I will say, I really like the Ying pickup, I think, from Interstellar. I love seeing this being combined with the dive composition because the Ying doesn't really dive, but she just gets that illusory rift every 5 seconds. She spends it. Their entire team is in the middle of them, all getting buffed up by that healing. I think it's a great addition to the comp that Interstellar have. They just need to actually find someone to make the comp work on.
Well, their shots are going to be good. First blood for Davazy early on this one. It looks like this Talus is just going to get into the back line, causes trouble for Ying already. That's going to be the support gone. That's always a good first kill to pick up for any team. Mixalazeub at 45%, and with the kill advantage already in their favor, they're in a comfy position. This is a different team, it feels like, from the last couple. I mean, yeah, they've been close. This is almost dominating so far, at least for point number one. And with Talus running the way he is right now, they might be able to hit that 99 before anyone touches. Ash looking to try and go in, but no one's going to get there.
A completely unstoppable Mixalazeub. I mean, the Eevee could have maybe got OT, but she tried to poke out the Talus and couldn't make it work. This Kinessa also has been relatively uncontested the whole time now with a solid performance so far. Here comes the Ruckus, but again, they have this mobility to run away, and now he's left on an island.
Oh, they don't stay alive there. I was going to try to stay alive. Oh, but sometimes, Kresnik, you just can't. You can't outrun this composition right now, it feels like. And unfortunately, again, they don't have anyone that maybe feels tanky enough to get aggressive. Andro going up in the sky, looking to pull something back here. Realistically, right now, Interstellar are the ones that need to pull anything back in their favor. A couple of kills, a couple of shots, anything that could go onto this Talus to lock him down, or the Andro to lock him down would be nice. Unfortunately, stop banning BK. Oh, not looking too good. One more shot's all he needs, just off the mark there. Uber Spade not going to be able to get that one. But you know what? All this fight's going on. Who cares, I should say, because the payload's still moving forward this entire time. A minute and a half left. They've got it pretty far.
Yeah, and P.E.K.K.A.'s just going to soak up all this damage on Cart. I think he played that right. I don't think Enfield should have used those charges, but P.E.K.K.A. said, hey, listen, I'll live through them. I'm an Nora. I will survive. I'll be able to get back on this point. You just got to be careful with his heals now, as the card is contested from up top. Looks like the Ashe is sitting in basically the one position you can stop it from, and they'll have to leave, but they want to fight and dive onto Barcode.
I mean, that's usually not been fruitful for them, but Barcode's been on Koga 2 games in a row. Trying to kill him has been very difficult. Trying to kill him here doesn't seem to be causing too much trouble for them. Although he's tanky, and that shield is definitely doing some work, making it difficult to lock him down. Kills on the other side. Nice shots from Uber Spade. Going to be able to find one there. Is an assert dominance from Snaze just to try and guarantee some space. Kresnik, that payload is just uncomfortably close for me. Going to be able to find some kills. Even with 30 seconds left, I don't know if you can count out Mixalazeub.
Yeah, they have a chance to back up and retake. I got to say, though, great. I love that assert dominance by Snaze. I think it was a little bit too late, but it put him in the perfect position to find all the kills that were of people retreating from that last fight here. But Mixalazeub have 18 seconds left, plenty of time to get back in, and they're playing it slow, which is the right way to do it. Maybe bait out one dive before you go in. But Interstellar are patient. They're also playing slow enough. They're going to make them cross that gap, but maybe too slow. They're giving Now too much space to work.
Good shot right there from Now. Not enough to be able to find the kill. Payload, though, still moving forward. Over time, is going to have to do it here. They run into OT. Payload still moving forward. P.E.K.K.A. incredibly low. Hexafire, though, not going to be able to find too much damage onto Now. It's going to be able to connect, and they do find the kill onto the Inara. The question is whether or not they can keep up the pressure, and the answer seems to be yes. They find the full-on white. It's one lonely Maldamba slithering around back there in the backline. Looks like he's one hit from dead, and Invul will go ahead and find that one. Interstellar, keep it close at 1-1.
Mixalazeub got it pretty close there, but Interstellar had too good of a defensive composition. It's very hard to push and cap this map when you have triple DPS against double tank. They just have all the lanes covered. Even though Barcode is kind of just like a tanky flanker on this Ruckus, it's kind of why you end up picking him up most of the time. It's still enough pressure, enough tankiness. I wanted to find another word to say it, but I think it's just appropriate to let them hold on to this, right? They send resources in, but they need more to burn through them when they can play around these close little corners and make it a little bit tougher to work out here. But on this rollout, I think Interstellar have to play the high ground, and now they're playing a lot more together to stop Davozy from running right through their team.
Well, they're going to be able to stop him this time, but I saw Davozy has a Wrecker 1. There was a Wrecker 2 as well onto that Kinessa. Helpful for dealing with a Ruckus, and they're going to be dealing with him just fine right now. Barcode, though, is able to turn it around. They're not able to find the shots and get the kill, so Davozy, he's on out of there this time around. Snipes going on the Ying, but she's got a tree, and ultimately that is enough to stop those bullets and anybody from trying to find her. Nara doesn't have the backup at this point. It's necessary to try and control it, and even though it's 42% from Mixalazeub, Interstellar back on the objective and in control right now, and we're doing a lot at the forefront as well. Dread Serpent I don't know where it was used, I don't know what it was used for, but it doesn't seem to be finding too much on this side as of right now. Interstellar gonna try and get aggressive, or maybe just stay aggressive here on this point. 84% Kresnik. It feels like it's so easy to get there. I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. It feels like Mixalazeub has something cooking. He now finding a kill. Can they find any more as they tie it up? They hold it up. They're even getting aggressive and taking control of the point.
Yeah, they managed to retake it with Pekka walking on. They actually forced down the Damba ultimate with the Eevee. The Eevee's actually was doing a great job, but they just can't finish any kills really right now is the big problem. Ice Storm will fix that for now, but they don't have anyone to throw on the point. It has to be Victor, and Nauka's just ready and waiting.
And at this point, look, you don't see Canessas do this sort of play often. That is someone who wants to get aggressive. Headhunter going to be coming up relatively soon. Could try to make more plays like that, but as of right now, it's been quiet from now. As Pekka just trying to stay alive. And Nara does it better than anyone else, but even this is making me a little anxious, seeing all the damage being done. It doesn't matter, they step off the objective, and that gives the opening Mixalazeub need. They find themselves up 2-1. Now he's finding some interesting snipes. A cute shot there between Uber's Payday, and now makes sure that that's a kill onto the Ying. And they're once again pushing this one forward, and at the very beginning, it seems to be going fine.
Once they have to focus on the objective, that's when Mix's combo is going to be so good, because then they have to focus on Nara. She will live through everything, and then now can kind of do whatever he wants. And I like how Pekka's playing this around it too, this push when the team, just to make a little bit of room for the team on cooldown with DR. It's kind of like a Woodknock style of play, but it's exactly how you think you have to play a Nara here. Just, again, very hard to push this on the defense. They have this high ground in Devoza. You can see he's just fishing for an opening that isn't being given to him.
Oh, Envil finds a good barrage, gets rid of now. Pockets a shot just to save it for later. 20% still on that ult. As now Kresnik, like, there's a lot of action still going on. They're still fighting, but this feels like the first time that there's maybe a pause, right? The payload's not necessarily aggressive enough that anything could happen for Mixalazeub. And it's not so far back that Interstellar are necessarily off the hook. And so everything coming up exactly how you would expect between two teams that, I'll admit, are kind of surprisingly close considering the standings. I mean, Interstellar, not necessarily at the top of the top, but definitely a team that you would maybe expect to have this one a little more under wraps. And Mixalazeub, I think, kind of surprising everybody with the 2 points they've picked up already.
I think I would agree. I also think Mixalazeub have looked a little bit better over time, now that they've having to kind of been forced to finalize their roster, being out of roster changes from all the people that were leaving to join other teams or just being done. They're kind of stuck with this roster now, and it's been a good look for them, I think, now that they're kind of adapting to it, as Enviel pushes up from Interstellar, catches out now, and that's the playmaker that's down, and Interstellar's going to stay aggressive.
At this point, why wouldn't you? You're going to be able to find a lot of kills. Uber Spady goes down. Actually get a Moldamba kill coming through on the other side. Gets her to stop banning BK, which maybe keeps some of the pressure up from Mixalazeub. But I'm looking at 20 seconds left, and I'm starting to get a little concerned here for Mixalazeub's chances. That payload is not close at all. Even though it's sitting over 50%, it's just barely at that. Still has to make it through the archway, which is so difficult to do on this map. 5 seconds left. Pekka is here. But not for long. Pekka's gone. Now, as it comes through, no one else is going to be able to touch in time for OT, and we find ourselves going to round 3.
I don't know if I liked how early Pekka went to the cart. I feel like the rest of the team was turning and burning the ruckus, and Pekka was just on the cart alone, dying. Because everyone else on the side of Interstellar was just free-firing on her, with just having a Victor there, having a Eevee there. It's a lot of damage that Inara can't necessarily live through, and as soon as that, that damage reduction is gone, she doesn't have much of a way to survive anymore. Looking at Naux's build, we're actually seeing a card you don't see very often, Power Supply. They're down on level 2.
Yeah.
It's pretty low health threshold, but I think it makes sense. You run it against Dive, right? As soon as Barcode crosses the space to get into him and actually start putting damage into him, he just gets a second blink away if he manages to chase him after the first.
I'm just trying to do the math real fast. So 500 health. Not a lot to work with there, but once you hit 500 on that Canessa, you get your teleport back to see if that comes in handy. Although right now it doesn't seem to be working too much. That's going to be Barcode with a double kill as he's running them down. Interstellar looking to take control this time around. Again, it quiets down a little bit. They get aggressive. It's just a huge wipe at the very beginning. Now they're keeping that pressure going. Uber Spade pulls back 1. It's 45% still rising. All control favor of Interstellar, but not really too much of a lead. 20% now that they're going to have. Seismic Crash looking to lock down. Snaze looking to go down. Great ult to make sure that he not only stays alive, but doesn't have to give up any of the ground at this point. Get rid of the healer for Mixalazeub as well. This payload, or this point, I should say, looks like it will become a payload anytime now. With all these kills checkered out and the way they happen to come through, P.E.K.K.A is kind of the last tank standing that can come to the objective.
Yeah, because they managed to have that dive in from the sniper just to buy the time that they needed. P.E.K.K.A is living, but look at this Dama pocket in front of everything. It's actually managing to work out. They force back Barcode, and even with EV here, the chaos is working in favor of Mix.
99% to 93. So right now it's Mixalazeub still standing. Davazi's gone. Nobody's gonna touch. So all of the points I was trying to make doesn't matter. It looks like someone blocked Snaze there from getting in. Good body blocks cannot be overestimated how much they can do. So they get the point once again, Kresnik, although I will admit this time Payload's not off to as great a start. It's going to take a little while to get this roll.
Yeah, they got the first pick, though. They'll be able to roll back into the cart, but look at what Barcode is doing, just living back here and maybe using too many of his dashes. The perfect fear. He has no resilience. Had to get the Master Riding first, and that shield will not keep him up long enough to keep that going. These flanks are trading, but now that the cart's moving back, Mixalazeub is not unhappy with how that turned out.
It's just trying to get this to convert. A 4-2 is not very easily done.
Oh, God.
Especially against a team like Interstellar. That's a nightmare fuel, right? Like, you turn and all of a sudden there's Ash. I think I've had a couple of nightmares like that one at least. I'm sure a lot of pro players have as well, especially in the heydays of Ash, where she has been one of the most dominant. I know, I mean, you get a Nara double kill, that's not something you see often. And then right off the map, ADC is bad, unfortunate position. Maybe just not able to transition anywhere. No way to teleport out of there. You get Davazi, but the kills are coming up blue.
I mean, ridiculous. That was a Talus True Power, by the way, that killed that Ying. That's what punched him off the map. So good knockback. Perfectly set up there. This Headhunter not finding the value that they probably wanted it to, but, oh, well, he had to walk away anyway because of P.E.K.K.A. They were two already because of this Kinessa, and this Hexafire, it just isolated on the point right into a reversal.
And that's, I mean, an Andro's wet dream, right? He loves when you just fire all of those missiles right into that. Fuels him up perfectly happy. Snaze, though, is going to be the one. He's in a little bit of trouble. Uses that ult. Whether they can buy time with it is the big point of contention. The answer seems to be yes, but not for long. A good kill, great play from P.E.K.K.A. as well as now with this damage coming from the Kinessa, making sure they stay alive in this one. 25 seconds left to try and get this one converted. It's walking close. Now's dead in the back line. Uber is trying to stay alive in the front line alongside his Anar. They're going to be able to do it. There's a Dread Serpent as well to try and help seal this one down. Couple more shots and one more kill will do it. And they lock up Snaze. They lock up a map here, Kresnik. And after a couple of unfortunate pushes that didn't go their way, they find their first conversion for the win.
Yeah, it was Mixalazeub with that. I think those hit scans really ran away with the game. Honestly, Nauk and Ubers by the end of the game, I mean, yes, they got all the kills near the end, but Nauk was constantly the target. Even if Nauk died, that was also Barcode super far in the backline trade against life. Sometimes those trades are good, but depending on how the rest of it is going, I don't know. It's really hard to judge the value of your Ruckus going in that far for that kind of trade.
I mean, yeah, he's a very, big dive comp that comes through right there. And unfortunately doesn't get to spend a lot of time dying. Or diving, I should say. Does spend a lot of time dying, unfortunately. So, I mean, Interstellar, I think if they'd maybe been able to swap it out. Again, Ash Ruckus, I think in most circumstances, is a very scary duo to end up against. Unfortunately for him, not able to do much there. 100,000 damage, almost on the dot, picked up for this Andro. 15, 6, 10, but it's 16, 9, and 9 for now, who has a very stellar performance on this Kinessa to make sure things slow down.
And a 15 and 6 on the Andro, too. Honestly, the only one who really looked like they were struggling on the side of Mixalazeub was Devozy, and I wouldn't even say he was struggling. I think he was just more the willing sacrificial lamb more than anything, right? Any push that started was on the back of a Talus running in saying, I'm not the best character in the game right now. If I die, I die. And maybe I'll enable my Kinessa and my Andro to do whatever else they want on the other side of the map.
Yeah, and hey, if it works, right? You're Mixalazeub, you now have a point on the board. And Honestly, Kresnik, normally I find myself talking, especially when a team seems to be outclassed. If they win or lose 2 maps in a row, you win one third map and you're like, well, it was a 4-3. There's a bunch of qualifiers that follow, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, 4-3. It was very close every single time. They just, eked it out at the very end. This wasn't one of those. I mean, a 4-2 win is already very solid in and of itself. And with the way the first 2 maps went, it's not too convincing to say that Interstellar have this one in the bag. They're still just 1 point, or 1 map, I should say, 4 points away from being able to win one. But I think it depends very heavily on where we go. Interstellar get the map choice.
And Interstellar are going to keep things straight and narrow. It's going to be Splitstone Quarry. That's where Interstellar want to take us. For here, we have gone through the gambit of the. I thought your camera froze, Core. that face you're making, I thought your camera straight up froze. Yeah, it's the end of an after-school special over there in Gore's apartment as he freezes mid-jump here. Splitstone Quarry, though, as I said, will be where we head for this map, Gore. When you went up, when my effect went up out of the screen, that actually looked amazing. I'm sad I didn't have a recording of that. You went straight out of frame, frozen like that. If anyone can, please do. And then DMCA will hear a voice of us speaking and also somehow get that taken down. Interstellar with the first pick because of that loss before, as we are now, and as we said, in the loser's pick side of things. But the bans are what's going to be important. We'll see if anything changes between these teams. Interstellar said, hey, I know we lost with it, but I guess we'll get rid of it, as Ruckus ends up in the ban column.
Well, hey, you know what? He comes through once, he loses, you just say, yeah, well, at least we saw him once. And I think it's that weird like dynamic where he's not someone that you first pick overall, or like if you want to first pick him, you can, but I think there's just enough counters out there available that you have to maybe second guess what you're trying to do with him. And ultimately, we see less overall off-tanks banned away. Ruckus and Atlas still down there, but Rom makes it through for, I think, the first time today in this set. Maybe we'll see if he can make the difference here for Interstellar.
Interstellar, we're going to have the Inara instead, taking that priority again from what we saw earlier, right? The Inara was the first pick for Mixalazeub, and it won them the last game. That could repeat itself here for Interstellar if they are feeling comfortable about that pickup. Mixalazeub, though, they have the response. Rom, I think, with considering how much it was banned, should go here, and he does. Picked up by Mixalazeub early, and that's a great start to this. I think some aggressive flanker or a support to back him up would be great here as well, whether they get that Ying for that dive, whether they get maybe a Maeve or an Eevee for that to go even further with it. But it's going to be the Androxus. I think that is a fair pickup. Uber's looked good on it on the last map. And the ultimates and that verticality, all of that combined makes him a really lethal pick here on Splitstone.
And honestly, again, this is a map where Andro, things like that can close the gap pretty fast. Hit scan as well. I mean, he brings a lot to the table. But Grover and Nara, this is a combo that I think we've seen. Especially, we haven't seen her at all this set. But Vivian alongside this, if you lock that in for Interstellar, it's just a Bleachers comp, right? I mean, you just control one side more than the other. And so maybe she can make her way through, although it has been a little bit since we've gotten to see her. Kind of surprising me, I'd say. But Mixalazeub grabbed Makoa, which I'll admit was not on my bingo card for today. I was surprised to see him yesterday.
Gore,
I kind of pulled him out of the ether.
The fourth pick here. It's a little off the beaten path. Okay. That bit's done. That was for the Makoa. That was the gag. I forgot to do it. Eevee is incredibly on the beaten path, at least in Europe for now. Straight down at Makoa. We're seeing him more. I think European teams are playing him more. They like that dive potential. They like the hook for the displacement. I think it's smart to have into an Eevee, but it's not going to be easy into a Vivian.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult. I think this is actually, from Interstellar, I'm going to tell you, Ash, Eevee maybe controlling Lava, then Inara, Grover, Vivian going towards Bleachers. Gives me a lot of hope for him. Makoa is only as good as the hooks that he hits on that side. Willow comes through, and that's an interesting pickup for this one, especially against some hit scan. Maybe not the most prominent hit scan. Vivian is solid, but she's not at the top of my list of counters to Willow. We'll have to see if Mixalazeub can make it work. There's also, I would argue, maybe a good reason we don't see a lot of Willow that comes through. And so we'll see if they can make it work here. So we go to what could be the last map, Splitstone Quarry. Again, Interstellar, and they just need one more to do it. The question is, Kresnik, I think if they can do it fast, or if it's going to take them a little bit of time, or even more so if Mixalazeub can have another performance like they just did on Stone Keep.
I think it's going to be a little bit tougher here as we go into Splitstone Quarry. It's going to be a lot harder of a matchup for them, just specifically playing into this Vivian without a real counter. I know they're going to say, oh, we had Willow. I don't know if I would want to take that fight on that side. You know, if I would want to play Willow into it. Willow can trade on a dive, but it's not guaranteed at all once you go in and try to finish off a kill with that Willow. You'll probably trade your life, and it might not even be worth it without having a point tank, right? They have Makoa, they have Rom. The dive might be decent, but if they're losing the cap the whole time, getting rooted, getting kind of picked off that way, it's going to be a harder fight for Mixalazeub. They need to do better than trade.
All the shots so far not on the mark. There's going to be one that helps slow things down. Stop any BK. Looking to try and hold their ground. But there's the downside. I had said Ashe Eevee going lava could maybe find a lot of control. If there's no Ashe, Eevee, it's only 1,800 health. That's not a lot to work with on that side. And it looks like they're going to get pincered into the bleachers here. Unfortunately, that might benefit them because they have such a good bleachers comp, and that's going to be first blood on Davozy on this Rom. Now Makoa is left to do it all on his own, frontline-wise, trying to contest this one. It's 42% already for Interstellar. Zanara putting in the work.
Yeah, definitely doing a great job so far as they hold here next to the objective. Barcode locking them out pretty hardcore. They can't really get any closer. And look at this, actually. BK just diving in, and the bouncing roots off the illusion, off of the ROM kill Ubers. So unfortunate, as Davozy just needed that damage to break through this, because he's not going to get through the Vivian on his own.
There's going to be a couple of knockups, some good control that comes through. Oh, and almost a kill from the hook, but Becca not able to find it and ends up losing their life. Instead now, returns one. Now looking for two and finds it right there with the kill onto Barcode Snaze. Returns one onto the intro. It's 96-6 though, Kresnik. This win for Mixalazeub, it feels minute to me just because it's going to take quite some time to get to that 96 mark and match what Interstellar picked up.
As long as they stay alive and leave, they have a way to refight. The problem here for Mixalazeub is that if Mixalazeub loses the fight now, they have no second chance. Interstellar have gifted themselves that with their early point play. But look at this accursed arm, it just catches ADC. They have been so unlucky with surviving here, just finding into rough places. And now, what a hard time to get to the point. Enville's not even going to survive.
It's going to be good damage so far from this ROM on the high ground. Good shots from Uber Spady, who's locking it down here. And nice shot to get Snaze out of the air. Mixalazeub sneak that point away. I honestly was discounting them from what I thought they were going to be able to do there. But hey, from 6 to 100, they're able to do it. Keep Interstellar at bay. Now they're starting off aggressive. Dismounts already. Everyone locked up in the base. That payload is going to get a decent chunk of the way through in this first 30 seconds. Mixalazeub surprising me.
Yeah, me too. I mean, with how they managed to get that retake and completely just melting Enville when he tried to get in. I feel like Interstellar have a good comp for this, but for the sound of a hook, it looks like it just pulled Snaze down, and that might follow up on a kill. He just can't land a single assert dominance.
Damage still looking to be a little bit of half and half. One kill for one. Snaze going to have the respawn advantage in his favor. Bomb King's going to have that as well, or I should say Stop Banning BK is going to have that in their favor. But the downside is respawn advantage only really gets talked about if you're dying enough that it comes into favor. So even though you're going to be right here in the middle of the fight, does mean Mixalazeub definitely putting the pressure on and forcing Interstellar into an uncomfortable position. A couple of shots there on Envil could find the kill. Maybe try to lock that one down. Mixalazeub pretty close to locking this up. I mean, now goes down. That might slow the pace of everything, especially if this Eevee can get to the back line.
And Eevee will get back there and find the kill. That was the question I had for this, and the rest of Mixalazeub just kind of collapsing here as the aggression comes in from Interstellar. You can see now kind of waiting for that, but everyone falls one by one. They're lucky to keep that mount on Nauk without Master Riding, but still moving pretty quickly. And also, you can maybe do that trick to carry that speed momentum forward. Nope, just runs right off, gives up the mount, and ready to fight here into them as they try to contest. They want to look for a hook, I think, from this low ground to high ground. Pull somebody down, but they actually force out the Illusory Rift aggressively. But no space really being taken just yet.
Well, they're still able to get aggressive. Barcode goes down. Davozy is trying to open the door for his team to slam through. And honestly, Rom has got some big shoulders to knock that shield or that door down. The question is if they can, again, keep up that pressure. so far. Invul looking to go down now, finds the kill right there. Now trying to get aggressive. Even they're going to push forward just outside the base. Knockup, I believe Barcode went into the door there, but this payload is moving forward. It's looking for the conversion. 1 second left, overtime gonna be coming through. But look, you're Eevee, and there are 3 guns staring you down. Try to buy the time for Invul. Unfortunately, it's just mismatched there. Payload goes in. Mixalazeub find themselves up 2-0.
Another turnaround by them, because those fights kept looking like maybe it wasn't going to go their way, but now it's really helping them run away with this. He's 9-3 on this Andro right now. He also had his ultimate charge before anybody else. Even Uber's on this Willow, a character that gets ult really fast a lot of the time. You see that constantly coming in, but unable to have it up in time now, because really outpacing him here on this. And Mix even have good ultimates to come into this with. They spent the Sentinels and the Whirlwind trying to hold that last. Even the Assert Dominance actually trying to hold that, so they only have Seismic Crash and Ice Storm to work with on the side of Interstellar.
Now, a good Seismic Crash can change everything, but how often you find a good Seismic Crash that can then counteract, let's say, a Fey Flight and an Ancient Rage? It's not too often on the other side that Interstellar are maybe going to find this. But they have to keep the pressure up. They used a lot on either side to make this go forward. This Fey Flight looking for some shots. Eevee, Ice Block, not going to be enough to keep her alive there. They trade 1 for 1, flank for flank. Andro for Eevee, but now the Willow goes down. She falls out of the sky right into the ground, 6 feet deep, as she sleeps for another 5 seconds. Barcode with another double kill, making the big impact here. That's 62% with comeback mechanic, Kresnik. I don't want to call it done before it's done, but it feels like it's going to be a very close call for Mixalazeub to try and even get in there for the touch. All up to this dash. It's a little too late there from Davos.
Yeah, Davosy, I was watching him as the only person that could really make it, but he didn't even really try to make the attempt because of the timing here. And look at this, Ancient Rage, I didn't even notice, wasn't even used, but they managed to use it now to get the kill, but it's just too late. They might clear people off of the objective, but can't do much more than that. As this ROM barely forces out the Grover, but is still now stuck in the middle of the whole team.
Well, they're able to stall this payload out. No, it's still technically moving forward there for a little bit. Finally, it does stall out. Triple kill for now, looking to just pop off in one moment. Part of the reason that comes through, he gets himself a Quadra, although I think Invul wanted that to happen. Maybe not going towards now. He definitely wanted the death either way. Get that reset. And now they're just trying to find their way back. Kresnik, I'll go ahead and open the floor to you, because with 1:40 left, it's going to take a little bit of time to even get back to that bit.
Yeah, but I feel like Mix are kind of giving up this ground they took early, right? They had that area and then just fell back, and now they're getting picked. What a Assert Dominance! Did get 2 kills. Vivian cleans up on both.
That's Barcode once again, like you said. Not only cleaning up kills, but really just driving force for Interstellar, keeping things going forward. Stop banning BK, picks up the healer. This pressure coming down from the Vivian is making things a little too difficult. Now that payload, not only is it back on track, I think it's moving pretty smooth as of right now. Interstellar coming around the 50% mark. They get a kill onto now as well. The Quadra kill king of the game taken out for a moment's notice. Continue getting aggressive. One more good shot onto that Willow. Not going to be able to find that one. They make it back into the base to get the healing necessary to stay alive. They're all so low on the side of Mixalazeub. No ults available. Payload coming around the last corner as of this point. Eevee looks to be getting aggressive along with the rest of the squad. They're not meeting a lot of resistance here, Kresnik. It looks like they might just walk it in. Finally, someone on the side of Mixalazeub is going to be able to step forward, but it's not someone you would want. As both the healer, I think all the tanks, all of the carries, just too low to contend.
As one of the quickest turnarounds I've seen there. I mean, comeback mechanic definitely helping Interstellar there a little bit, but they also just played it better from the start. They had players protecting Barcode. Uber Spady didn't feel comfortable going into the quarry with his Fey Flight. If he had gone in, he maybe could have killed the Vivian. Who knows what else he would have been able to do, but wasn't willing because of the way they were playing around him, making it significantly harder for Mix to keep that fight on their side. When Willow doesn't counter Vivian, Vivian runs rampant. And Barcode has been kind of running rampant in this round since it started. It's been a good look for Interstellar. They need to keep enabling their Vivian, and it will help them significantly to win this quarry side of things, but no ultimates at all for them. Only Seismic Crash up for Interstellar. Mix have a little bit of resilience, but if that Andro or Ying is the one who ends up meeting the end of that spear, it's going to be hard for them to answer.
Well, a couple of good axes here have made some differences in these previous rounds. Barcode not just making a difference in these rounds, these games have been very good for him. Invil, though, taking a just huge punch of damage, but stays alive. I always have to forget Inara is better at anyone else than doing exactly that, being incredibly low, should be dead, already counting them out. And of course, not only staying alive, but now almost full health, being able to stay through. A nice little knockdown right there for the assert dominance. Makes sure that Snaze gets it instantly, finds a good two-man stun. Invil finds himself a kill, 78% and still rising. Has to try and force the touch from the Makoa. Ancient Rage comes through. Good hook onto the Grover, but is it going to be enough? You're chasing him down, but you're losing your life to do so. Pekka ends up losing that one out. Now with 4% left, try and gather. Gotta touch the payload, or I'm sorry, the midpoint eventually. Either way, they'll be able to get it going. No overtime available for Mixalazeub. Now Interstellar are in a position to try and close this one out.
And they have Mixalazeub cleaning up a few of them there, even with that kind of dominant mid-fight, I think, from Interstellar. And Mixalazeub still immediately managed to flip it around. Now came over the wall and had a good kill there. But I liked that example we got to see of the Makoa, the fact that he got a hook, he was sick, he rolled and he touched the point. Oh my god, what can Makoa do? And then he is defeated by legs. Because everyone else has him and he really doesn't. He can't chase you down once he ults. He's just swinging to the fences and hitting nothing but air. As the Grover managed to keep that gap between them, making things, showing why Makoa ult isn't really as effective as it used to be. But great fight. Always going to be quite effective. Uber's spamming down now onto Snaze, who is completely isolated.
Yeah, Snaze still alive, which is actually a little surprising, I think, throughout that scenario. That payload still moving forward. The fight kind of happening on either side of it, but not directly on. And so you're going to have Invil getting a little bit of pressure there. A minute and a half left, just a little under. Try and get this converted. They had less time than this and still were able to do so last round. We'll see if they can get that same pressure. Barcode's gone. He's been a huge portion of the control. Interstellar have been able to bring the big ult from Davazy, looking to lock him down, but not able to get the kill onto the Grover. Looking to try and find Invil just thereafter. It doesn't look like the damage, this minigun not doing enough for him on its own. Needs a little more help to try and get these kills. Fortunately for them, it's just not happening. Mixalazeub, even though this has been a strong defense right now, aren't finding what they need to stop it.
Yeah, they just can't. Interstellar's just staying alive and in the fight constantly, but I think now that they've gotten this pick onto this Vivian, it's going to get just a little bit easier here. You can see them just trying to dive targets, but the damage is what's missing. Snaze trades only one, but Snaze is not long for this world either. Mixalazeub finally stabilize and end this fight with their Ying actually being the one to pick up quite a few of those kills here. Everyone's up for Interstellar. They have a chance to fight this. Mixalazeub will not be willing to spend ultimates because if they hold this, they're looking at a 3-3 that'll determine their fate in this set.
That's the important thing, 3-3. You need your ults for that, especially when your back is against the wall because match point is on the line. That's the same case here. You have to be careful of how this goes now. Getting aggressive. They're all so low. It's looking like another setup for potentially a quadra kill. He finds two, looking for three right here, but gets taken down before he can find it. Either way, health bars are low enough. They're going to be able to get rid of at least one more member of Interstellar there. But they're in overtime. That payload is contested. How long can Invil last? Well, naturally, only a second longer before I finish that sentence. Goes down fast. We find ourselves, as you had highlighted, here to 3-3. They did use the Accursed Arm, but the Whirlwind is around the same percentage on the other side there for Interstellar. Both teams, let's go ahead and round Davazy's ult up to 100%. Only have 3 available to him right now.
Yeah, now he used his Accursed Arm a little bit late. I was thinking, oh, this might be risky, but he also charged it so damn fast on that first fight. There's almost no way he doesn't have it up when it's necessary here. Barcode doesn't have the Sentinels, but what I think Interstellar will just do is play safe on that inside again, make it very hard for Mixalazeub to dive into them. It's going to be a lot on Davazy for getting in with that Cataclysm, knocking down the shield on Barcode, and kind of having a team engage. If they're even slightly out of sync, if they don't get that piercing stun and damage, if they don't get Willow collapsing too, I think it's going to be a really hard fight for them, and they already are kind of stuck just waiting for Davazy to make a move outside.
They find a good hook. That's going to be able to grab Snaze, but again, bonks his head to make sure the Assert Dominance comes down. Davazy right into the wall. It's not going anywhere anytime soon thanks to the stun. Unfortunately, it was a wall. It wasn't going anywhere anyway, and that's going to lead to a lot of kills here on the side of Interstellar. One more. They find themselves a wipe, but can you chase down that Ying well enough? The answer seems, well, actually might be yes. I was going to say seems to be no. They're going to be able to get back there in time, cause some trouble. Barcode maybe forfeiting their lives. That's 75% rising. Interstellar are coming up to the best moment that they could, which is the winning moment. 96%. It gets stalled out. Davazi goes in, throws his life on the line for it. Is trying to hold on as long as they can. Makoa back in the equation, trying to make sure things keep going their way. And the kills are coming up their way for Mixalazeub. They are holding on to deaths on the side of Interstellar, just trying to push forward. And they got 3 as Invul goes down. Keeps it with 2. A DPS and a support trying to save the day. Kresnik, I said it last time, they're only at 45%. They got a long way to go.
Yeah, there's quite a way to cross here. They need to do it kind of together to protect Barcode and let him do whatever he wants. But this Raw might actually be overextended. He got crippled mid-run. He can't get out. Now they have a number advantage here to play off of.
Now they're going to be able to find it. That 4v5, unfortunate. Make it a 3v4 as 2 more deaths just roll on through the door. Looking for the kill onto the Willow. One more shot from this Eevee. Might be able to find it. Just a little off finally. Is going to be able to lock it down thanks to Invul. Seismic crash into the background. That's all they need. Ying is just a little short. I think that one's an illusion. It disappears just in time to showcase Inara standing tall as they find themselves victorious. 3-1. But I think that's a little misleading overall because Mixalazeub put up a hell of a fight that set.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Mixalazeub, they don't look like the team in the standings that they do right now near the bottom. I think I want to say 1 win for them. I can double check just to see that. Yeah, only 1 win for Mix right now. So a really tough look for them. But they're getting better. The problem is, everyone else is too, and it's hard for them to really keep up with that.
And luckily, it seems like and this is always going to be the case, for bottom teams, your rate of improvement usually does catch you up to the top teams. It's hard to be the best and always get better, but it is pretty easy to have some very easy notes to work on and get better. So I think Mixalazeub closing the gap a little faster than the gap is getting away from them. Unfortunately, it's still a lot of work to do. Against teams like Clown Fiesta, Yoinkers, maybe a little more trouble and trying to make it work. But here against Interstellar, your 3rd seed in Europe, I think it's a very good performance for them to at least showcase some of their strengths. Unfortunately, though, I mean, a loss, Pekka, I think really comes down to this Makoa. 3-11 didn't necessarily get off the ground, I think, the way they had planned it.
I thought Pekka still made a decent amount of space, though, just watching the way that they played. You saw them going in, you saw them getting good hooks, which is all you really need. The team is the one who gets the kills at that point, and he was tied in assists with Ubers. So he was in there, he was making something happen. I say Devozy had a good performance through most of the set, but the final round really got away from him. I mean, we saw him. I'm like, I hear the Cataclysm come in. I'm like, all right, I hyped this up. This is it. And then lo and behold, what do we see but face to wall? And the ult just hits nothing. And I was in the middle of this crazy, like, oh, it's all down to this. And it was all down from there.
Yeah, that's one not so great moment and an otherwise stellar set, right? That came through for Mixalazeub. But unfortunately for them, and as was highlighted earlier, they still are only at 1 set win as it stands forward. Interstellar, I think if I'm pulling them from memory, are 6-5 now that are going to be able to come forward with this, in 11 weeks, 11 games. I think they're just barely able to find themselves 1 more win overall. Still solidly your 3rd place team and still solidly trying to just, I guess, climb up as best they can. I think they do need to find, in my eyes, if you're Interstellar, this should be a 3-0 easy game next time around. Mixalazeub gave you a challenge, but if you want to contend with Clown Fiesta and Yoinkers, you need a little more.
Yeah, definitely need to see some improvement there. And speaking of improvement, we'll be heading over on the other side of a break coming up soon to a region that we've seen, I think, these teams with a lot of improvement, specifically Fatal Ambition was about to go against In Control Nation. Fatal Ambition, a team that made some changes, pick up Divino, and have this weird roster swapping situation where they pull him in when they want tanks, they pull Headed in when they want DPS, and they've been looking a lot better, I think, because of that. And I hope you guys are stay tuned to watch that match on the other side of this break.